So I've been thinking about something lately, and I genuinely think I need to speak about it. Why do we do this thing where we look at somebody's life, someone who has most likely been on a particular path for a while, be it ministry or career or business, and the person has kept at it for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and we measure our lives against their life and conclude that we are behind. Why? Behind who? Behind what exactly? The truth that I don't think is loud enough in this our day and age is that no two people are traveling down the same path. No two people are, working the same journey. No two people have the same processes. And if that is the case, how can you look at the life of someone who is traveling down a different road and look at your own and conclude that you're the one who is failing? And for people like us, especially people who are multipotentialists, this is one of the sneakiest lies that the devil uses to mount undue pressure on us. And the funny thing is that we don't even consider it a lie. We consider it maths, career maths. You look at someone else's life, you measure your life against it, and you just conclude that, nah, I'm the one who's not doing well. And honestly, it's not maths, it's just the wrong equation. When I was writing this week's newsletter, I could not help but go back to the story of Moses. Yes, the same Moses that you know. It took Moses 80 whole years before he could stand before Pharaoh. Let me rephrase that. Moses was 80 years old before he stood before Pharaoh. And if we want to judge the life of Moses the same way we judge our lives, we would say that Moses didn't start fulfilling ministry or destiny until he was 80. The first 40 years he spent in the palace as a prince. The second 40 years he spent in the wilderness. In the wilderness. And it was in the wilderness that he encountered the burning bush, and God was like, okay, now is the time. And that was not because Moses had suddenly aligned to destiny or aligned to the schedule that God had mapped out for him. It was simply because everything that God needed to put in place in the life of Moses, around the life of Moses, and for his journey had now been put in place. And this is the mistake that a lot of us are making, right? We're in our wilderness season. We look at this season of our lives that is likened to the wilderness, and we conclude that it is failure. We conclude that the delay we are experiencing is it's failure, that it is the proof that our ministry, our calling, our purposes do not amount to anything. Forgetting that this is just the journey. Forgetting that the middle always looks like failure. Forgetting that what God is doing is that He's preparing you for the now that is yet to arrive. I'm going to try to say this as calmly and as directly as I possibly can. You're not a late bloomer. You are not. Because as kind as that sounds, it still assumes and signifies that you are late, that you've missed out on some sort of timeline or schedule, and that's simply not true. Some people are just complex bloomers, and complex things take time to unveil, and that's not an indication of failure. Take a look at the rose and the rare orchid. They are both flowers, but they don't bloom on the same timeline. And that's not a case of failure on the part of the orchid. That's just how it is designed by nature. For everyone who is silently measuring their life against someone else's life or other people's lives and panicking, for someone who is doing the internal maths, of measuring your age against your progress, and that math is falling short. For someone who is tired of watching other people hit their milestones and is tired of wondering if they've missed their season, this week's newsletter was written with you in mind. This week's newsletter is up, and I encourage you to go read the whole stuff. The link is in my bio. I'll go ahead and also drop it in the comments.